Dust for Puerto Rico, and I think about 50 to 60 years or something like that. So it is somewhat remarkable to see it. And when we say this is a common thing that happens, we typically do get the pattern where we get the dust moving across the Atlantic. It can hinder hurricane formation and things like that. But again, this year it's going to be a little bit different, a little stronger than we've seen for some time. Our current weather, though, not including a dust forecast just yet. Actually, we will have some tonight and tomorrow. We're kind of beginning to see it creep across the Gulf, but mainly we're concerned with rain actually one more day before we kind of turn our attention to the dust at the end of the week on Friday. Officially until tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. we have our flash flood watch, and that's because we've gotten several inches of rain and we might pick up a couple more, and that might lead to some flooding issues tomorrow. So that's something we'll have to watch for. Tonight, though, everything a lot quieter. Looking at our storm reports, there actually weren't any for our immediate area aside from a little bit of minor damage here and there, but the National Weather Service did say an EF1 tornado was confirmed near Westminster in East Baton Rouge Parish. So this was just south of the Essen Lane exit on I-10, if you're familiar with that. 110-mile-per-hour winds there, and it had a path of not quite 4 miles, and also some wind damage, including a tornado report with up to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The National Weather Service did confirm over here, and they're still adding to that report. That was just their preliminary version coming out just a few minutes ago, so we'll keep you updated as we hear more. Moving through our forecast for tonight, you can see this could be the overnight kind of scene. 2 a.m. as I showed you earlier, maybe a bit of rain in the area. This could be early on our Thursday morning tomorrow, starting off with clouds, humid conditions, temperatures in the 70s. And then our latest model runs have been including some showers and downpours, but not quite as many, certainly as what we saw today. So tomorrow, the rain chance I have near 50 to 60%. And while there could be a couple of heavy downpours, notice that it's looking like some of it may kind of stay perhaps a bit removed off to the north or off to the east of our area. But we will still be generally in the same pattern tomorrow, with things coming to an end really tomorrow night and into Friday. Tonight, and for your wake up forecast tomorrow, we'll have 70s for temperatures, humid conditions, not that much wind. Our rain chance in the morning about 30 to 40%. And then tomorrow during the day, we're expecting at least be ready for a few more additional thunderstorms with temperatures in the 80s. Today, our high temperature was only in the low 80s, so it wasn't too bad because of the rain that we got. And I showed you those rain totals earlier, up to 3 or so inches, but radar estimated a couple of swaths, much more than that toward the Homa area. Tomorrow, your forecast keeps us in the 80s, and you can see the rain chance there maybe during the early part of the day, probably wrapping up by evening. Here's the upper low, and this has kind of provided the stormy conditions. We've also had some surface low pressure just out to the west of us. All of this pumped in moisture and kind of caused that streaming of showers and storms. But moving forward in time with our upper level wind map, the upper low pulls away. And by Saturday, you can see high pressure ridging kind of spreads over this part of the Gulf of Mexico, so that will make it drier and a little hotter, and also that hazy look will be there too. This is our Saharan dust forecast swirling into the Gulf Coast and over toward the East Coast maybe even, and we will see it probably Friday through, we'll say Sunday, maybe into Monday, but we could see another surge of it coming even behind that. So that could be about a week away, or maybe even into the next week and a half that we see that next bit show up. So we'll be talking about that Saharan dust for a while, especially this weekend when those rain chances will be going down.
The LHSAA makes a ruling on schools that allegedly started summer workouts before they were allowed. Plus, we likely won't see full NFL stadiums in the fall.